Hi everyone, it's me Sandeep Tiwari, and today I'm going to present on an IoT-based real-time meat inventory management system. And this slide, there's a group member name, and they are Saroj Adhikari, Sumit Rajbanshi, Amit Pokhrel, Ashok Kadel, and myself, Sandeep Tiwari. Our supervisor is ABM Russell, and the name of the client is Monsoon Implex Private Limited. So this is our client details. You can see the shop on the right hand side, Western Halal Meats. So client detail. The company name is Monsoon Implex Private Limited, and there's a ABN number of them as well. And the address, it's lies it is based on Western Melbourne on Werribee, and Monsoon Implex Private Limited is a reputed private business in the western suburb in Melbourne, which offers meat products and general grocery service to local customer in Melbourne. And so, what's the client requirement for this project? We're going to talk about this. They want to increase the revenue by proper management of the stock, and reduce the meat wastage. There's lots of waste of meat, and they want to save money from preventing from the wastage. And not only that, the customer satisfaction is the main goal. So they want to provide the quality meat to the customer so that the customer gets satisfied and the maximum quality meat can be delivered to the customer. So the outline of our project. So project description. The, will describe the project and project domain, and there's research cohesion and project design approaches, and the conclusion. That's what we're going to talk in this presentation. So first, project description. So our project is real IoT based real time meat inventory management. So it will just track real time meat and the stock area that when you get the meat from the supplier, you just start to tag that through different, like we'll tag it through the RFID tag, and then monitor the temperature of the meat, and then the manage the meat effective management of the stock through the RFID tags, and quality of meat will be monitored through the smell and gas sensor that will detect the gas, certain gas that emerge from the meat when they are off the date, and we can know that the meat is not usable or not edible. So we just need to throw it out if the it's not up to the limit. So next slide is problem domain. So for problem domain, I will have my friend Amit to explain further about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. About the problem domain, here it is on the right hand side. It shows the data from Food and Agriculture Organization from United Nations. It says that almost 20% of meat food is losses every year. That means it is like almost 75 million cows. That is really a huge amount of food wastage. Indeed, here are some of the problem domain. They are like lack of proper equipment, like freezer. Really in underdeveloped and developing country, lack of equipment, such equipment, cool room, either cool room or freeze, they are really are to be developed in those countries in order to save the food losses. Similarly, power failure is another problem. Whenever the power that goes down in the place where they have the equipment like freeze and freezer, then the food stored within that cool room or freeze will make the food inedible. Similarly, effective practice of storage, that is like first in, first out, are not followed properly, especially in the place where meat or any other stuff are stored in large quantity. They are to be rotated according to first in and first out. The earlier date has to be gone out first than that of the latest date. So when it is not practiced effectively, then the food losses will be an result for there again. Similarly, improper monitoring system, whenever the temperature within the cool room are not monitored properly, or the smell detection system it is not monitored properly, then it will create the problem and the consequence will be full loss again. Here are some of the research questions we attached with. They are like, what type of systems will we build to reduce the meat waste? Similarly, which kind of monitoring system is required to monitor meat quality in real time? Also, how we can track, alert and display system to prioritize the meat inventory based on expiry. All of the answers to this question are our project. Similarly, I'm going to invite my friend to continue the project.
Hi Amit, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm also Prasad Kandel, and so I'm going to talk about the more about the project design itself. So for our project, we have got two types of design. The first is the flowchart design, and the second one is the system architecture of the project itself. So the first one is the flowchart design. In our flowchart design, we can see that there are the supplier will be given the meat product to the company, and the company will like receiving, and they will be giving some sorts of RFID tag, and the RFID tags and the product details will be goes into the database system, and the database system whatever they is stored in the local drive for the backup and other for the purpose. And the local drive will be connected with the Raspberry Pi, and this and the Raspberry Pi is directly connected to the temperature sensor and the gas sensor to like for temperature sensor to measure the temperature level of the meat product, and for the gases sensor it will like measure any some sorts of concentration of gases like amines. And like further, the database system is interconnected with the web page as an example of like MySQL and PHP, which will display via real-time monitoring system in the display system. So let's move into the architecture of the project. So in our project, you can see the real hardware based and devices. So like there is a RFID tag which is connected with the RFID reader. So it will be in the Raspberry Pi, and the Raspberry Pi will be connected via the power supply connector, and there is like two sensor, temperature sensor on the left up, and the smells detector sensor on the right down. So there is one database system by like MySQL, and it will be connected with the display system to display the statistics of the meat product. So let's move on to the next project. So in the project design continue phase, so there is a display like monitoring, and all the mid product RFID tag will be listed instead of like in addition with the temperatures and current time and the reading time. So this is the like the display just like the prototype design, and in the for the authentication we'll be providing the username and the last detail login, and along with the like the date, time and temperature. So along with this one, I would like to continue to my friends Sumit. Thank you.
Thank you, Asuk, for help inviting me. Yep. And now we're going to look after the project Gantt chart. So this is our Gantt chart where we have allocated all the data and the details that should be included in our project. So we can see that there is an online database management systems providing dates and hardware online books available, and hardware online resources. And similarly, let's move on to our design approaches. And we have the first device, that is Raspberry Pi, and this is actually a main device of our project, where it is actually a small operating system where it has powerful functioning abilities like supporting the video outputs and storing the datas, and also where we can actually where we are creating our MySQL database, so through which we are going to carry out the major project parts. And this will be also connected to the backup data, so we can also store the database whenever it's necessary. So similarly, there is a smell sensor which we're gonna use in our project in order to detect the smells that the meat produces, so that we can keep the data that about in order to track the meat products, so when it's going to be expired or what time it takes to stay fresh. So we're gonna use, and in our future work we're gonna explore it more. So similarly, there is a temperature sensor we are using in our project, and this is actually is for measuring the temperature of a cold room and freezers that we are going to where we are going to keep our meat products. So in order to calculate the temperature at which we can keep the meat products fresh for a long time. Similarly, we'll be using the RFID tags, RFID readers, and database management system. Here, the RFID tags actually will be used whenever we are getting the products from the suppliers. As soon as we are getting the products, so we'll be using the RFID tags for the fixed for a quantity of meat, which will be of a similar type, so that we'll be using like a one RFID tag for a similar quantity of meat, and we'll be storing in a separate place, so that it will be representing for all same quantity of meat in a different category. So we have divided the category of meats into the beef, chicken, lamb, and goat, so that, like, for example, we'll be using a one RFID tag for whole goat quantity. And similarly for beef will be using RFID tag for a single meat products resembling to all of the beef quantity. So in this way we'll be using the RFID tag, and this RFID tags will be read by the RFID reader in a certain area. The RFID reader it covers a certain area, so that whenever we get the meat products with that RFID tags, it will be scanned through the RFID reader, and this will it will be inputted into the database system, where we are actually keeping all the records of the RFID tags, and actually we are tracking and monitoring all the datas into the database system. And similarly, there is an web interface, so this will be discussed by my Saroj Adhikari. So I would like to invite him. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, in this section we are going to discuss about web interface. So we have already built the database. Now from the source mid source, we will read data from mid source. Then it will go to the we will store that data to the database management system by MySQL. Then to retrieve data, we will use some coding like PHP, so it will display the data in the monitor. So if the for example, if the meat is out of date, then uh, in the monitor there will be some kind of alert system like a red line to the certain meat, so that the user can be alert while seeing that data. Now coming to our conclusion, we have successfully researched that we can build a monitor and alert system. We can manage the stock by using RFID tag system, and which will help to reduce meat wastage. Like from temperature and smell sensor, it will detect the degraded meat, so it can be eradicated. So, and at last, we built a Raspberry system that can control and maintain the meat quality. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.